Let's take a look at Thursday, Leap Day in the NBA. There are 8 games on. What do we need to do with streaming? What injuries do we need to pay attention to? And which Michael Bolton do we need to hear from? This one.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy Basketball, your daily fantasy basketball podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd, and I've just gotten back from Glasgow after setting up the Willy Wonka immersive experience. I'm sure everything has gone totally fine over there. I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and you can find me on Twitter as always at redrock_bball, on TikTok at redrock_bball, and on Instagram at LockedOnFantasyBasketball. Today's episode is brought to you by Grammarly. Make a bigger impact at work with Grammarly. Sign up and download for free at grammarly.com/podcast. Thank you also for making Locked On Fantasy Basketball your first listen. Every day, we're free. We're available on all platforms. The old DB squad is here, the double bangers. One bang didn't suffice. We've got to do 2 of them. So let's do it. Thumb it up, bells, subscribes, comments. Thank you for doing all of that. And then audio, leave your reviews, your 5 stars, all of that stuff. I just perused all the reviews we had on Apple Podcasts last night. Unbelievable. So many great reviews on there. Been awesome, overwhelmingly positive. Love it, love it, love it. All right, so what are we talking about here? Well, we're talking about Thursday, February the 29th. Yes, that is a real date that exists this year. We're talking about the games in the NBA. Very busy Thursday with just with actually 8 games on. We don't normally get that many on a Thursday, but here we are. This is a weird week. The first game we're going to take a look at is the Milwaukee Bucks once again taking on the Charlotte Hornets. This game happened yesterday, and it was a disaster. This is the one that the Hornets scored 26 points in the first half. It was bad. So what are we looking for here? Well, Milwaukee's got their schedule for the week. They've only got 2 more games. It's Thursday, Friday, but they do have 4 games next week. The Hornets, one of the better schedules remaining. Thursday, Friday, Sunday, and they move into a 3-game week next time out. Chris Middleton will be out. LaMelo Ball, I had the asterisk there. I didn't really need it, did I? But the asterisk, as you know, is me sort of predicting the status. He's out. Of course he is. So I just got to rule him out for the rest of this week, and then who knows from there. Mark Williams is out, and Andre Jackson Jr. is questionable. I want to watch Damian Lillard for the Bucks because he's playing much better. Is this because he had the break at the All-Star game? Is it because the All-Star game got him back into form? No. But is it just the break? Is it just time to sit down, look through more schemes and film and all that sort of stuff, a refreshing sort of time off? I don't know. But he's playing well at the moment. On the Charlotte Hornets side, I want to see Brandon Miller. It's not that he's not playing well. It's about trying to get an expectation of role. Like, where does he sit usage-wise? Because he's been up, then he drops back down, he sits in the middle, the efficiency's all over the place. Just getting an idea of what sort of player he can become. In terms of streams, Leaky Beasley leads the way there for Milwaukee. All of the streams that I list here are going to be 50% rostered or below. And then Tre Mann, I guess, will keep starting with LaMelo out. He's only 40% rostered at the moment, and that number should just be significantly higher than what it currently is. The next game we look at is the Utah Jazz and the Orlando Magic. The Jazz go Thursday, Saturday, and then they have 3 games next week. The Magic go Thursday, Sunday. They have 4 games next week. When I created this, the Jazz had no one on the injury report, but they do now. Walker Kessler has popped up with a questionable tag for a foot issue. Last game we saw his minutes jump back up. I don't know what to expect from this man on a game-by-game basis, and now there's an injury tag. Not ideal. If Kessler is out, that is going to have to mean more Taylor Hendricks, which is going to be very intriguing. For the Magic, there's John Isaac is questionable. I don't know why. Yeah, I don't expect him to play. That knee injury didn't look good. They keep listing him questionable. I'm just never going to expect John Isaac to play. And then the other one is Paolo Banchero, questionable with this illness. I don't know what he caught, but he's already missed 2 games. He's already sick before that. Hopefully he returns, but I don't know. For the Jazz, Larry Markkinen sucked last game. He was terrible against Atlanta. I do worry that there's been a lot of load, Giggity, placed on Larry Markkinen, over this season. And as we saw last year, as the team gives up, and I don't say that about many teams, this team has given up. Not the players, not the coaches, but the organizational philosophy has. What happens with Markkinen? Do they start to phase him away? Was that the beginning of some of that yesterday? Is he disheartened by what the team's doing? I don't know. So we watch that. Markel Fultz, I don't think belongs on a 10 or 12 team roster, but he did play 24 minutes last game. And if he goes from 24 and pushes to 28, then he's back in the mix. So we need to watch that. In terms of streams, again, 50% rostered or below. Keyonte George, scoreless first half, 14 point second half. Overall, you take that result. There's going to be shooting problems for sure. And then Jalen Suggs, who at any point can get injured, at any point can shoot 20%, but he has fixed his three-point shot this year. He's a good three-point shooter now. He gets some steals. He's playing point guard. He should be on rosters too, but he's not, so you can go and stream him in. And if you're in a 12-team league, you just add him. The Brooklyn Nets hosting the Atlanta Hawks. The Nets, or the Hawks for this week, go Thursday, Saturday with 4 games next week. The Nets go Thursday, Saturday with 5 games next week. Now, that 5 games are very appealing, but there are 2 players I'd be very cautious, or 3 actually. Ben Simmons is not playing 5 games next week. Cam Johnson, I doubt, plays 5 games next week. And Cam Thomas, I doubt, plays 5 games next week. But Thomas is the iffy one. We know that Trae Young is out. We know that Onyeka Okongwu is out. Ben Simmons will be back for this game. Cam Thomas has now been ruled out, and they said he'll be day-to-day moving forward. So maybe he plays on Saturday. If he is out on Saturday, I would have to suggest that he does not play 5 games next week, Cam Thomas. Now, a lot of people have dropped Cam Thomas already. I wouldn't have been that quick to do that, but with him out, it'll be interesting to see what they do with Simmons, with Smith, with Schroeder, with Lonnie Walker. Like, who do they start? Do they go back to Cam? Is Cam Johnson going to start next to Schroeder and Simmons off the bench again? Does Simmons and Schroeder start next to each other? There's a lot of questions of what they need to do. As for the Hawks, it's just the same injuries, Young and Okongwu out. For the Hawks, Clint Capella looked better last game. He played 24 minutes. How much further do they push him up? That's what we watch. Well, speaking of good, well, actually not speaking of good, Mikal Bridges, trash, terrible, useless is what he was last game. It's what he's been for weeks, months. He's definitely not a drop. But I'd like to see a turnaround of some sort. Maybe, hopefully. In terms of streams, the Hawks haven't had any stream guys for a long time. Now there's 2 options. It's probably more deeper league stuff, but with Okongwu out, Bruno Fernando. And with Trae out, Kobe Buffkin, who played 20 minutes last game. Is Buffkin probably a 20-minute guy? I don't think so. Maybe 15, but that's okay for deeper leagues. And then for the Nets, we're probably looking at Day'Ron Sharpe, but that's assuming that Finney-Smith and Schroeder have already been rostered. You've also got Lonnie Walker in that mix, although he was flat out disgustingly bad in that last game. Today's episode is brought to you by eBay Motors. This week, and all weeks this season, eBay Motors is teaming up with me to bring you some of the best fantasy picks each week, all season long. So when you're out there scouting the waiver wire, we're going to help to give you the best players that are a guaranteed fit on your roster. DeAndre Ayton is dealing with a hand sprain. They haven't given us a severity on that injury yet. They're being a little bit coy, as they are, the sneaky guys. They're being a little bit coy with that injury, but they're saying that he's day-to-day. So in the short term, Dwop Reith is worth grabbing. Now, with Portland going absolutely nowhere, the Snowman being sort of having a weird season and having that knee issue that was day-to-day and kept him out for 3 weeks earlier in the year, what do we do with Reith? I think he's worth grabbing, and then we just see where that ends up taking us, because I think he'll start and I think he'll get a good run, and Ayton's day-to-day might last into 7 days and then week to week, and who knows? Nothing, we can't feel confident about anything with the Blazers, and we saw that with the Shaedon Sharpe injury, is that you see 1 or 2 games off, and then they go, actually, long term. So we need to watch that one there for sure. Yeah, is that a guaranteed fit on your roster? It might be. And getting those sort of fits is what is it about. It's what it's about when you're trying to win a fantasy championship. And eBay Motors knows that a championship team is about being that perfect fit. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you can make sure that your ride stays running smoothly. Brake kits, LED headlights, roof racks, bumpers, whatever it is that your baby needs, eBay Motors has it. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, it is guaranteed to fit your ride the first time, every time, or your money back. Plus, at these prices, you're burning rubber and not cash. So keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. eBay Guaranteed Fit is only available to US customers, eligible items only, and exclusions apply. Okay, so we go on to the next game. As I'm recording this, other injuries are popping up and coming through, and we actually got some updates on this game, which is the Golden State Warriors and the New York Knicks. Andrew Wiggins is out again for personal reasons. Isaiah Hartenstein is off the injury report, but Jalen Brunson is officially listed questionable. So we didn't have those injuries before, but we do have those updates on them now. The Warriors go 3 more games this week, Thursday, Friday, Sunday. You would say there's a doubt that Wiggins plays on a Friday as well, and they play the Sunday, and then 3 games next week, while the Knicks have Thursday, Sunday with 3 games next week. So Wiggins is out, Guy Santos is out, Julius Randle is out, Mitchell Robinson is out, OG Anunoby is out. Isaiah Hartenstein is back, but Jalen Brunson is questionable. In terms of what's on my radar, Chris Paul played 21 minutes last game. 21 minutes of Chris Paul is not enough to be a 12-team league player. Even though last game he hit 3 threes and had 4 steals, which is a 12-team league guy. But nobody hits 3 threes and has 4 steals in 21 minutes as a regular thing. This is not me telling you that Chris Paul is not a 12-team league player, but it's telling you that if he stays at 21 minutes a night, then he's not a 12-team league player. But I don't think he will stay at 21, but that's what we want to watch. For the Knicks, it's Hartenstein. What are the minutes? He had that back-to-back off, so he returns. Is he going to get 30 in this one? Is he going to stay at 26? I do believe he's a must-roster player, but I just need to see where the minutes are tracking. In terms of streams, with Wiggins remaining out, with Paul still limited, maybe, we don't know. Brandon Pajemski remains that stream guy. I don't think he's going to be a long-term hold, but we go with it for now. And then I've got Juice McBride on this list. I could have had Alec Burks there, but McBride and Burks probably get similar minutes, but if Brunson's out, then McBride plays 40. So there's great stream value if the burner does happen to be silent. And I don't know about you, but do you think that there is any correlation to the Knicks having Randall, Robinson, Anunoby, Brunson, Hartenstein all injured with the insane minutes that Tom Thibodeau plays his guys? Or is it just coincidence? Don't know. Always a risky proposition when you loaded up your roster with like 7 unplayable guys at the back end of it and then have your coach be a maniac and play 40 minutes to 6 guys. Always going to be that problem. But, there you go. Got to strive for every single one of those wins at every single moment at all costs, even when you're 20 points up with a minute left in the game. Let us go on to the next one. It is the Oklahoma City Thunder going to San Antonio. It's Chet versus Wemby. The Thunder go Thursday, Sunday this week and 4 games the next week. The Spurs have Thursday, Sunday as well, but only 3 games next week. At the moment, these teams have nobody on the injury report, apart from Charles Bassey, but he's been out for the season for months. For the Thunder, Josh Giddey was great last game, but he only played like 21 minutes. In 22, 23 minutes, he's not enough for 12. He's streamable, but he's not a must-roster guy, even though his production's been pretty solid lately. I need to see those minutes push up. For the Spurs, Jeremy Sohan has been dreadful the last 2 games. Like, terrible. Is he streamable? Probably more so in points leagues, but like you're tempting fate. Like, he can be usable. We saw it like 3 games ago. He had a big double-double. But then he went scoreless in 16 minutes last game. So we need to see, has he learnt his lesson where he was benched 1 minute into the third quarter? Does he get back to big minutes? Probably, but we'll find out. In terms of streaming, Lou Dort is always on the radar for the Thunder. And you just never know what you're going to get. Old box of chocolates over here. And then Jeremy Sohan, again, it's pretty up and down as well for the Spurs in terms of what he's going to deliver. Houston and Phoenix. We haven't seen the Suns play at all this week. Houston goes Thursday, Saturday with 4 games next week. The Suns have the only weekend back-to-back. They play Thursday, Saturday, Sunday with 3 games next week, and they have not played yet this week. Tari Eason is out for the Rockets. We know that. Bradley Beal and Eric Gordon are both questionable. They participated in non-contact portions of practice, so I would say that probably leans them a little bit more towards doubtful. Remember, Beal pinged his hammy pre-All-Star break, so we're dealing with a longer-term situation here, which is fine, considering how much he's pinged it already this year. You'd want him out 3 weeks. The team just is always frustrating with going back too early. And then Eric Gordon, bit weird, the groin soreness. Is that more than soreness? Big concern with that. Nurkic has got a sore ankle, but he's going to play. And Damian Lee is out. For the Rockets, Amen Thompson, limited minutes last game. Is that what we're in for, Ime? Is he a 17-minute a night backup only now? Is that what we get? Or are you going to play him, because not like Fred VanVleet played well, we're going to see him get more Aaron Holiday minutes? We're going to see him eat into Jalen Green? I don't know. That's what we want to see. I can understand holding him in because the potential's sky high, but the trend is bad. For the Suns, well, Bol. Because we saw Vogel effusively praise him, tell us about his role going to stay the same and be big all the way through. But what happens if Beal and Gordon play? Where does Bol fit? What are his minutes like? In terms of streams, Dylan Brooks is our Houston Lou Dort, so he's always going to be on that stream zone. And then Bol is the Phoenix one. And with the 3 games in 4 nights, it's a little bit more interesting. Same with Royce O'Neal as an option there. If Beal and Gordon are out, I am more into Ball and obviously more into Royce O'Neal in that spot. The next game up, we go to Miami and Denver. Denver are coming into this one on a back-to-back. The Heat, who should get a lot of their guys back, maybe we'll see. They got Thursday, Saturday, Miami with 4 games next week. Denver go Thursday, Saturday with 3 games next week. So same schedule this week, different next week. Tyler Hero still got that question mark on his knee hyperextension, which he said was fine, but of course he's missed 2 games already. Players lie. Josh Richardson's out. Tom Bryant's final game of his suspension. Orlando Robinson dealing with a back issue, he's questionable, and Hunter Tyson's finger is questionable. For the Heat, I want to see Jim Butler because he's turning it up at an immense level at the moment. And in the past, this is reversed Jimmy Butler. He's always been bad. Well, not always is a strong word. Regularly been bad in February and March, but he's putting up big numbers. Is it a sell high? I'm not really sure. Probably is a little bit, but let's see what he keeps delivering. As I said, the Nuggets are on a back-to-back, but in terms of streaming guys, 50% rostered or below. KCP is the guy in Denver. Don't know why I reversed the names there. KCP is the guy in Denver. Well, I do know. It was an aesthetic decision. KCP is the guy in Denver, and with their Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday schedule, that makes sense. And then Duncan Robinson, whose value does decline if Hero plays, but if Hero's out, he's going to start, and he'll be definitely worth a 12-team roster spot. The final game of the day is one that has got a gigantic injury report. It is the Wizards and the Lakers. The Wizards go Thursday, Friday, so they got the back-to-back, but then they don't play again on the weekend, but then they got 4 games next week. The Lakers play Wednesday, Thursday back-to-back, and then they play Saturday as well with 4 games next week as well. At the moment, for the Wizards, Denny Avdia and Bilal Coulibaly are both, I'm putting them both as questionable. Denny's missed the last 2 games, Bilal's missed the last game and 7/8. He left that game 3 minutes in, so we don't know about them. But for the Lakers, LeBron is questionable for Wednesday, so I'm going to put him questionable for Thursday. Anthony Davis is probable for Wednesday, but you know he's going to appear on the injury report for Thursday. That's just going to happen. Christian Wood is out. Jared Vanderbilt is out. Gabe Vincent is out. And Cam Reddish is probable for Wednesday, but given that it's an ankle issue and it's a back-to-back, I'll say that he's questionable for Thursday. I also just don't know how many minutes he's going to play. I want to watch Jordan Poole for the Wizards, who I do think is back to being a 12-team league guy, understanding you've got to punt field goals because now he is a 30 usage guy. He was running at very low numbers, like 23 usage all season, which, given how bad he was shooting, was not enough. And part of the reason I was high on Jordan Poole is I thought he would be 30, 31 usage, and the volume of that, of free throw percentage, of assist numbers, would mean that in a punt field goal situation, you would love to have him. And you have not loved to have him at all. But now the volume is through the roof. So we want to see, is that going to continue? It's 4 straight games, but let's see. In terms of streams, Corey Kispert's the guy in Washington. All we need is one of Denny or Bilal to be out, and then he gets a extended run. If both of them are out, he gets even more extended run, more shots, and really good value there. For the Lakers, it is probably Rui Hachimura, just given the absences there, plus the possibility against the Wizards on a back-to-back that either LeBron or Anthony Davis sits. There is that chance, meaning that Rui would take on extra production and extra responsibility in that situation. Today's episode is also brought to you by Grammarly. No matter what sort of work you do, you've got to be able to communicate. You've got to be able to communicate successfully, get your message across and get it across in an interesting way. And that is where Grammarly can help. I've used Grammarly for years. Like, as long as I've been doing this job, I have used Grammarly. I've got it as an extension plugged into my browser. So when I go and open Google Docs, Grammarly's there. And it gives me all these suggestions. Spelling, obviously. But grammar checks, tone corrections. You have your custom dictionary and custom phrasing. It learns what sort of stuff that you talk about and how you use phrases to help correct you and give you ideas, and you can use it for prompts as well. So that's awesome. So it's not just a spell checker. It's got AI writing prompts, ability to rephrase things, shorten, put it into different tones for different settings. Grammarly is the gold standard of responsible AI as well, with 14 years of experience and just about every IT certification under the sun. Grammarly is a secure AI writing partner that helps your team make their point and move faster. So make a bigger impact at work with Grammarly. Sign up and download for free at grammarly.com/podcast. That is GRAMMARLY.com/podcast. Easier said, done. Okay, so they are the 8 games over. So let's take a look at some 2-for-1s. The Thursday, Friday back-to-back streams. 4 teams have those, or that back-to-back. Tre Mann is the priority. I don't think that LaMelo Ball's playing on Friday. I already know he's not playing Thursday, so Tre Mann's the one I want there. The Bucks with Leaky Beasley, really good stream option. Of course, Bobby Portis, if he's available, we go there. I don't expect Middleton plays in either of those games either. Brandon Podziemski and the Warriors. We know Wiggins is out one of them, so is he out both? Cool. We go with Podziemski as a streamer guy there. Grant Williams and the Hornets, not a must-roster guy, but this little schedule for him with 3 games in 4 nights is a very big positive. Corey Kispert with Bilal and Denny's status up in the air. Kispert's got some value there, absolutely. And then Cody Martin as well, with the absence likely of LaMelo Ball, Martin's ability to get steals and assists, and also the ability to tank your field goals, which you have to pay attention to. But there are good minutes there and good production numbers possibly coming from Cody Martin. If you're going to chunk it up, we're going to finish out week 18 with Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then look at Monday heading into week 19, the first week of playoffs for many of you. It's the first week of playoffs for me in Industry Pickup, in Locked On Fantasy Basketball Bowl, points and categories, because I've already locked up my spots for both of those. So we're going to be in the playoffs there. So who has got the value schedules here? Well, all 5 of those days are low volume days. So let's look at the teams that have three games across those 5 nights. Tre Mann, Thursday, Friday, Sunday. The Jazz and Keyonte George, Thursday, Saturday, Monday. The Blazers and Matisse Thybulle, more leaning category league there, but he's getting big minutes at the moment. Friday, Saturday, Monday for Thybulle. You might get 9 steals across those 5 days. Chris Dunn, now that's a little bit more risky, obviously, and you've got to be leaning into steals to get him, but it's something for category leagues. Podziemski, Thursday, Friday, Sunday. That's 3 games in 4 nights to end this week. And then Greg Jackson, the second, goes Friday, Saturday, and Monday. We don't trust much about the Memphis question marks. Very hard to trust much about that team, but I do think that GG plays in all of those games. You're going to have some rough nights, but you might have some big explosions. If you're in a points league, that one makes more sense in that setting. There are 4 teams that play 5 games in 8 nights starting on Thursday. It's the Nets, it's the Warriors, and the Suns. We already know the Nets have 5 games in the Monday to Sunday for week 19, but these other teams have 5 games in 8 nights coming up at the moment. In terms of the stream of the day, the 10-team stream of the day, I am looking at Tre Mann. The 12-teamer, it is Keyonte George. 14-team is Bol. And 16-team is Taylor Hendricks. For your points leagues, both Yahoo and ESPN scoring, Tre Mann is the guy I'm going for on Thursday. If I'm just going to look at 10-team streams in general, Tre Mann heads the list, of course, followed by Keyonte George, Jalen Suggs, Marvin Bagley, Precious Achiuwa, the big sneeze, and DeAndre Hunter. All those guys will be sitting around in 10s, and I think that Mann, George, probably Bagley, and probably Achiuwa are 10-team musts. Hunter and Suggs sort of sit on the borderline to me of being must rosters in 10-team category leagues. For your 12-teamers, they're all 12-team categories musts, by the way. For 12-teamers, again, you follow that first list and see what you can find. Otherwise, now we move to the guys who are under 50% rostered. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Grant Williams, Leaky Beasley, Rui Hachimura, Bol, and Luguentz Dort. And then deeper leagues, 20% rostered and below, Cody Martin. Again, we already talked about him. Taylor Hendricks, whose minutes are pushing up and might be even bigger if Walker Kessler is out. Chris Dunn, Corey Kispert, Day'Ron Sharp, and Lonnie Walker IV, with Cam Thomas now sidelined. Point streamers, these are 50% or below. We're going to go with Tre Mann up top, Keyonte George, Jeremy Sohan, that's risky, Jalen Suggs, Grant Williams, and Brandon Podziemski. And that brings us to the end of a daily look ahead for Thursday in the NBA. Streaming options, injury updates, all of that stuff. And if you've liked all of that stuff, well, it's time to show me your thumb. It's time to drop that thumb. It's time to ring the bell and subscribe and leave your comments and do the stuff on the audio side of it as well. Guys, we are done here. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. See ya.